Hey everyone, and welcome to the Dev Method. Today's topic is going to combine a couple of disciplines together, such as design and engineering. So I have this idea, just hear me out on it, that we're going to build something with a design idea in mind and then implement it for SwiftUI. So the topic I chose to pick, hopefully it's an easy one to understand, is called spacing. But if you haven't really thought about this as a design element, well then maybe here's your chance to learn something. All right, so I have here in front of us the Carbon design system. This is by IBM, but there are many different design systems out there. It's open source, so you can take a look at it, but what we're primarily going to be looking at is the concept of spacing when it comes to this design system. So I have their scale here. That's what we're going to start with, something that just increments by some sort of unit. And the idea is that it's going to be the space in between elements that you see on the page. So in design, this is more or less the hierarchy that we're talking about. So where things are positioned, what's the gaps in between them. So like it could be two rows in a table or in a grid, in a layout. It could be vertical, it could be horizontal. One thing we want to stress though, it is not the length of something. It's not like the size of an icon, or it's not the size of like the text on the screen. Spacing is just one value for the space in between two elements. So here they have a couple examples. It might be really small on the screen, so it's not as important to understand what these things say, but just know that there is a token or some sort of variable, something to call this like as a symbol. And then you have some sort of value associated with it. So here they have this spacing 1, and then they have this px or pixel as 2. And I know I just said that things are not represented by the size or the length, but just to show you an example, it's tough to see something that is meant to be the gap or the space in between two elements. So they have these purple squares, and that's just showing just the size of what that might be in between two elements. So that's just for illustration purposes. Let me scroll down just a little bit. As you can see, it scales pretty far up, from something really small to something really big. It is going to be up to you to choose your own scale, but I'll give you something to start with. So here they talk about how to apply the spacing. And in your application, you're going to want to use this for margin or padding. As you might have noticed, in SwiftUI, we don't have this concept of margin. We have it sometimes, but most of the time we're talking about just spacing. And then we're going to be using it on the modifier for padding. And I think this example is a great idea. So if you show here, you have the 16 spacing. I'll just blow it up a little bit here. So right here, I think we have a really great example of the space in between elements. So on the right-hand side, it shows the variable and then how much space that actually takes up. So this is spacing 5, they call it. And you got 16. And then you have spacing 2. And I'm not sure what that number is because it is so small. But then there's another spacing 5, and then after the paragraph, they have a spacing 9, which ends up being 48. So this is the concept and this is the idea. So let me now show you something I'm working on in one of my projects, and it might help you out as well. So to get acquainted with where would we apply this spacing in the context of SwiftUI, I would invite you to take a look at the layout fundamentals. So SwiftUI's layout has a couple of different view modifiers that you're using that are in conjunction with components. And here you get a bunch of different examples, but you'll see that there's this HStack and VStack. So you have your HStack and your VStack, and you could define a spacing that's there. You can also define padding that is around that group of elements. There's also the concept of lazy for HStack and VStack. And then we have a grid. So you have many different rows in a grid, and you might want to specify what the vertical spacing or the horizontal spacing is between the rows or between the columns in that grid. And of course, we have the lazy implementation of the grid as well. So now let's jump to the code. So right away, I'm going to show you just the bare minimum structure of spacing as it is as a component inside this design system. And then I'll show you on the right-hand side a sample application so that you can see the idea of what the spacing looks like between two rows in a grid. So here we have our spacing, and it's defined as a struct. So this public struct is going to be accessible to this module, and this module I call is core UI, and it's going to be shared amongst a bunch of other modules or a bunch of other Swift packages. And then that way they can know what a struct is. I can use it in the signatures for my methods and for functions, but then they're going to be using specific values that I picked out for the design system. So I started here with just the SC100. So this line here, that is where I started. I said 8 was going to be our regular spacing in between these things. And I chose a scale here that is not like regular or medium, large, extra large, because what happens when you want to go in between 100 and 200? I have a lot of flexibility in between that to kind of stick to that scale, right? So I have 8 as my 100. If I double that, 100 is 200, right? So I double that in my scale here. So then I have the 800. And then I triple that and I get the 24. And then I quadruple that with the 400 and I get 32. And I find for a mobile device like this, that's probably going to be the best that I need. If I need more, it's really easy to just add more to this scale as I go up. 2 places below the 100 though, that might be helpful. And you really do it for consistency's sake, but you might need it just on a case-by-case basis. So I have here the spacing of 4, which is like a half spacing. So it's, only half of 100. And then I actually do have a spacing for 0. And that's going to be because when I have these type signatures in my methods and view modifiers and stuff like that, I might want to put a 0 spacing in there as like a variable spacing that is somehow changing based on other parts of the UI as the state updates come through. So yeah, I have here 0. So I added that in. There you can see it. But primarily sticking with the 100 base scale. And I just start with everything with SC to stand for scale. So now that you have those fundamentals there, let's look at like a practical application. So on the right-hand side, I have some code, and I want to show you what the code actually looks like for the preview. Okay, this is my preview code. There's not much here to look at, so let me just guide you through it. I have a picker that's taking some sort of spacing, and I chose the default spacing value to be the SC400, and that's what you see here in the picker on the right-hand side. And then I have a grid, so I'll show you what it looks like to place this with the vertical spacing that's here. But one thing to note here, like let's say if I put this myself and I go vertical spacing. So I actually have 2 different vertical spacings here. I have a vertical spacing, let's see. Yeah, here you go. Now you can see it. It's got vertical spacing, but it's CG float. Yeah, so let's do this. Just going to go to the definition of a grid. Okay. And let's look at its initialization signature. So the reason why there's multiple different initializers, or it seems that there is that we have some default values for some of them. So if we drop this first one, alignment, we'll automatically get center as the alignment. Same thing with the horizontal spacing, which actually could be nil. And that's the one I want to draw your attention to, is this horizontal spacing one and this vertical spacing one. Because right now they are CG floats. So they could be like some sort of decimal number, like, 8.356, whatever you want it to be. So I didn't want that in my design system. I wanted some sort of consistency. So I built my own initializers that use the given initializers underneath. So here's my implementation, and as you can see, it's a work in progress. So I built this up over time, and right now I have the alignment of center. Then I have this vertical spacing, which gives my type spacing. And what that allows me to do is do the autocomplete, right? So if I scroll down a little bit further, you'll see one with just horizontal spacing. And then if I go here with both of them, and notice how I didn't put the optional in here. Maybe that's something I want to do because I'm variably passing in just a nothing for spacing. But I didn't want to do that. And so that's why I added that 0 spacing as well. So I could just pass in 0 when I mean to pass in absolutely no spacing. But you'll see here that this initializer is the one where it's actually calling out to the value. So what is that value? Well, if we were to look back at our spacing that's here, all right, so here we have our spacing back there. Notice our value is that CG float. So it's a constant, it's the initializer, and none of that is public. So you can't access that outside this module here. I could have even done it as file private since I'm keeping it all in the same file, but the idea here is the same, is that it's not going to be shared by anybody using this from the outside. They will get all of those new initializers. So like here's that public init. So they're going to get that. It's not like I can restrict people from using the built-in initializer with the CG float. So got to just kind of leave it there. But that's how I get this dot value here. So once I get the dot value in, now I'm ready to roll, get some UI going. And then I have some debug stuff that I wanted to show just in the UI here. Let me scroll back down to the preview. So here's my grid. So this is what it looks like with the 400. Let me show you the smallest one besides 0, which is SC50. So that's what 50 looks like. And then here's with absolutely no spacing. That's what that looks like. And I can kind of just keep going around and trying to see what the spacing looks like as I increase it or decrease it. So that's the idea. Why don't I add in something real quick so you can see exactly where the 0 comes in, because if you look at the 0 here, it looks like there's still a little bit of spacing, right? So let's take a look at that. All right, so now all of them are the same color, but I got a background on there so you can see exactly where it's wrapping around that text. But yeah, notice that the text here even goes right to the bottom of the P on the spacing there, or yeah, on the word spacing. All right, so I got my backgrounds there. Now you can see maybe more clearly what the spacing is between all these. So I'll go back to the 50. So again, that's our 4 spacing. And then we'll go to a 0. You can see they're bunched right next to each other. So that's that natural spacing around text. It would be the same around images too. So I have a different preview of stacks. I'm going to click on it just to show you. So I just gave them an arbitrary height and width here, and it's just 2 images there. But yeah, if I was to then say, let's do a border, just so you can see that thin border that's on there. And by the way, I'm using colors that I've defined myself, but you can see them here. So I got a lobster. So I'm wrapping around the color palette that's there. And then I'll show you for the other one. All right, I put my orange kind of color that's on there down at the bottom. But yeah, you can see here the spacing that's in between these two elements. I used the SE, and then I used the 300, but here I'll just change it to do. You'll see it's slightly updated on the right-hand side there. Right, so there's the most it could be, here's the least it could be, just like right next to each other. And actually, let me take this here and put it just on one of these, and I'll call this one just blue. So now you can see that I have my border that is just around the image itself. Might be tough to see, so let me zoom in even a little bit more. And now you can see that the borders are definitely overlapping. But yeah, when I have a 0 spacing here, it just connects right with that other image that's on the left-hand side there. So let's do the SE. There we go. Yeah. Let me show you some other view modifiers that I've written that help with the spacing and adopting it in different places in the application. So here's the view modifier for padding. So normally it's a CG float. But here I'm overriding that with spacing, and I put the spacing variable in there. So that way when we go to use stuff like that, you'll see, let's go to our lobster here. And if I went to, some sort of padding, watch the autocomplete. So there's a bunch of different types of padding I can do. But then I want the one that is spacing : dot, and then there I get my autocomplete showing up. Yeah, so that's the padding. And then I did another one for the padding where it had the direction as the first argument and then the spacing as the second one. So that's something I did there too. And then I could, again, use that dot value because it's internal to this module. So here's my HStack one. It's a very simple one because I have my alignment and my spacing, and that's all I'm using. Same here with the VStack. So hopefully this was really helpful for you guys. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Do my best to answer them. And if you like what you see, give a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Otherwise, have a good one. See ya.